Have you ever seen something from the corner of your eye that wasn't there when you looked again? How about hearing from a friend of a friend that while they were hiking somewhere, they thought they saw something impossible, but whenever they spoke to a park ranger, there was always a simple explanation that left you just unsatisfied? My name is Jack, and this is my colleague Chris, and we are senior wardens for the Creature Conservation Initiative. We protect the world from the creatures of superstition and myth, but more importantly, protect those same creatures from the world. Well, hello there, Chris. How are you doing?
Hello, Jack. It's been a year, hasn't it? Don't tell me it's just February.
Oh, it's nearly March.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that can still happen. So far in 2024, I've got a bushy arm and several bite marks across my body. And yeah, it's not my favorite year so far. But how about you?
Well, mine hasn't been too bad. Although I have had to intervene on quite a serious case recently. But it actually links quite well to what we're talking about today. So I'll get into that a little bit later. But before we jump into it, I want to say hello, listeners. I hope you're all doing well. Shout loud enough and tell me how well you've been doing, and I might just be able to hear you. Wait.
Can you hear them?
No, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Oh, must have been the voices in my head then.
Yeah, we need to get those checked out.
We probably should.
Well, anyway, let's just jump straight into this one today, because we're going to be talking about a creature I actually quite like.
Okay.
But mostly because it's so mysterious.
Ooh, sounds interesting.
Well, its name is also incredibly literal.
Okay, what is it?
It's known as the hidebehind.
The what?
The hidebehind.
Okay, that just opens up a ton of questions. Is it hiding? Do you hide behind it? Or both?
Well, what it does is it spends most of its time hiding and keeps itself away from, well, keeps it out of view.
Okay, whoever named it is not the most creative person.
Well, there's actually a really good reason why they've not been able to name it something, a little bit more appropriate. It's really, really hard to actually see.
Must be the hiding.
Yeah. And we're making light of this, but it's actually a predator.
Oh. How big is it? Do I have to be scared?
Well, that's a good way to kind of get into what it looks like. It has quite the shaggy looking appearance to it. But again, everything I'm telling you here is what people have caught from glimpses.
Okay.
It's supposed to look a little bit like an ape or a bear. So very, very hairy, which is where the shaggy kind of, shaggy hairy look comes from.
Yes.
And it's supposed to basically just be completely covered in hair and fur, hence the ape, the bear, but it's supposed to look quite humanoid and it's supposed to have quite a humanoid face. But again, this is all really difficult. It's nearly impossible to see these creatures.
From that description, I'm kind of thinking Bigfoot. Are there any parallels there? Because, I mean, Bigfoot hides a lot.
That has been something that some people have postulated. Could it be Bigfoot? Could it not be? But the main reason why we kind of distinguish this creature away from anything else is its supernatural ability to hide. It's supposed to be a very, very large creature. We are talking big, like I say. The reason why they say bear rather than beaver, hairy creatures,
okay,
is because of the size.
Oh.
It is supposed to be a very, very large creature, but it does have this supernatural, elusive ability to just not be seen.
Okay, I thought it was just good at hiding, not that there was any supernatural elements involved.
Well, that's the thing. We can't even confirm that it's some kind of supernatural element. Its ability to hide feels supernatural.
Okay.
It's It doesn't make a difference what it's hiding behind. Doesn't make a difference how big this creature is, because it's also been described as very powerful, very muscular to those who have had the chance to see it and survive. It's probably the best way to put it.
Oh.
Yes, that's why I said earlier it's a predator.
Yeah.
It definitely preys on anything, and it definitely preys on humans.
And it could be behind you right now.
And you'd never know.
Or in front of you, as far as I understand it. You still wouldn't see it.
But, like I say, it doesn't matter how big this thing is. It just appears to be able to hide behind anything.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How would that even work if it's as big as you say it is?
I don't know.
It's gotta have some kind of camouflage thing, or...
Well, that's the funny thing. We've never actually been able to catch one.
Oh, that's a first.
Yeah.
Usually doesn't happen a lot.
Well, like I've said a few times, there aren't many creatures we can't contain or can't catch or can't handle. But there are some creatures that are, for want of a better word, just impossible for us to, control.
Yeah.
And normally we're talking like really, really, really big things, like some things that live in the sea. And again, I'll do an episode on one of them in the future. I'm already planning that one.
I know, you've been talking about it.
Oh, it's so great, that one. But well, it's interesting. Not great. It's absolutely terrifying. But the thing with the hide behind is we only ever can contain them in a location. We can't catch them. We can only make it so that no one goes into their habitat when we identify where they are.
Interesting.
Or that they are pushed back away from civilization is probably one of the more common ways of doing it. Because the thing with the hide behind is they are human predators. They will eat us. They will happily, try and take us down. From what we've seen, they're a little bit like the Kelpie.
Oh.
They like your intestines.
Nice.
They leave everything else. They just kind of like to eat the intestines.
They leave everything else?
Yeah.
That's just wasteful.
I know. But like I say, they like to hunt solitary creatures, or if they're going to hunt a group of, say, like people walking, it tends to be vulnerable individuals. So, if you walk in 20 people deep in the forest, you're probably pretty safe. But, if you walk in like 3 or 4 of you out for a nice hike, and you're all, fit and healthy, but not exactly scary fighters or anything like that, you potentially could become dinner for the hide behind.
Oh,
so
geez.
When we go to contain them, it tends to be groups of 10, 20 armed wardens who are actively looking for this creature, and it tends to scare them, or at least encourage them to keep out of the way and move where we want them to. But the funny thing is, even when we are containing them, we still haven't seen any of the damn things.
I mean, how do you know that it is where you want it to be then? Or how do you even know where to start?
Tends to be there's a rash of attacks, and when we've done our thing and we've pushed them out and we've done our operation, those attacks seem to disappear.
Well, that's can't argue with the results, I guess.
Yeah, it's a strange one, and it's so frustrating to deal with because, like I say, no one knows what they actually look like. Even the description I've already given you, it's piecemealed from lots and lots of people who have apparently seen or glimpsed them and escaped.
Okay.
So it's hard to identify what they actually look like.
Interesting.
Yeah. They're incredibly elusive creatures, and they tend to be found in North America. So we're talking US and Canada.
Okay.
They kind of joined our folklore, shall we say, when loggers and, explorers and travelers from Europe, who obviously went over and were the first kind of European settlers to the North Americas. They're the ones who started reporting sightings of this weird creature, or at least not so much sightings, but the feeling that they're being stalked and watched. And obviously it very quickly became a bit of a easy way to explain, oh, someone's gone missing. Oh, where's Jeff? Oh, I don't know. I've not seen him for about 3 days. Oh, he must have got caught by the hide behind.
Of course.
And some of them would have been true. Some of them would have just been the harsh realities of, you know, that life back in those times.
Yeah.
But it's because we've only ever known about them in North America. It was, you know, a bit of a random creature that kind of came out of nowhere for us. And there's even been talk about whether sometimes these creatures were actually, you know, very, very stealthy people who were actually just killing off settlers.
Yeah, who knows?
There's even been talk about Native Americans. Were some of them the hide behinds? You know?
Yeah.
But I can't kind of go deep into that. All I can tell you is the creature does exist, and you do have to be very careful when you're out there. They do hunt people.
One more reason to avoid America, I guess.
Yeah, well, you know, I've enjoyed when I've been stationed out in America and Canada, even with some of the creatures.
Yeah, it's fine and everything. They have very weird creatures there sometimes, and
Yeah, they do.
yeah, it's just one more that I don't want to deal with, to be honest.
It's very true. Well, all I can say is just stay out of the forests. They don't tend to be anywhere but the forests.
Okay.
Usually they prefer, you know, quite thick forests and things like that, which again, it kind of tells us that the hide behind needs cover to be able to hide behind things. It can't, its power, as we talked earlier, it's not supernaturally able to just go invisible.
Okay.
It just is hard to see, and it uses its terrain to its advantage. Otherwise, you know, maybe they'd be hunting out in deserts or open plains and things, but they don't. They stick to the forests.
Okay. So do we know, are they like drop bears? Are they somewhere in the trees? Like, what do I have to watch out for?
Well, we can identify that their lairs tend to be caves.
Okay.
They usually like to live in kind of like caves or, you know, dark areas. They don't like scurry up trees and hide in that way, or at least, well, I mean, actually, technically, who knows? Maybe they do like to scurry up trees and hide. Maybe they hop from tree to tree. That's how they keep out of sight.
Could be.
But mostly, we work on the idea that their lairs tend to be caves and things, because that's usually where we find their meals.
Oh. That's an interesting way to call the victims.
Yeah, well, you know, gotta try and find a way to make some of this lighthearted.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. But like I've said already, they are cunning creatures. They tend to prey on unsuspecting travelers and loggers in terms of like the olden times, but in more modern times, they will quite happily go after hikers, people who are lost, anyone who strays into their territory. But luckily for anyone who is unfortunately caught by the creatures, they're not cruel. They do, you know, they're like a quick meal.
Okay.
They're not going to draw it out.
So at least it's gonna be quick if they get you.
Yeah.
Well, that's always look on the bright side, I suppose.
Oh, I mean, that's, you know, rule number one of being a warden. Look on the bright side.
Yeah. If you're gonna be eaten, then at least be killed before.
Yeah. Because of how difficult they are to kind of like identify and just be around, there's not a huge amount really much more to say about them, apart from how to actually kind of avoid being caught by one.
And that sounds like an important thing to know. I would very much like to avoid being caught.
Well, like I said, it's mostly because when I started looking up some of the advice that's given, you know, in terms of folklore and how to handle these creatures, how to evade them or escape them or fight them off, I saw some things that really concerned me. That I really don't want people to do because it's a bad idea.
Okay. Do I want to know details?
It's not like really, really egregiously bad or anything like that. It's just don't be stupid.
That's gonna be a problem for me.
Well, we'll move on.
Thank you.
So, to escape the hide behind, one of the best things you can do is travel in a group, but like I say, a large group.
Okay.
They are smart creatures. They're not looking to pick up a fight. They're not looking to go after very, very difficult prey. They want easy prey, plain and simple. So travel in a large, strong-looking group. They do recognize modern equipment. So, you know, if you look prepared, if you look like you're ready to run away or escape in any way, shape, or form, and there's enough of you, they're going to leave you alone. You're not worth the hassle, if that makes sense.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Has anyone tried hiding from them? Like a hide battle?
No, they tend to be a bit better.
Damn it.
Well, the next one is stay alert, but not be obvious in staying alert. Don't, swing around, heads on a swivel, constantly looking around, because that makes you look nervous. And to the hide behind, nervousness is weakness.
Okay. So I should keep a lookout for it, but not look around, which seems like a problem.
Yeah. Well, it's about basically making it hard for the hide behind to actually approach you unnoticed. That's what I mean by staying alert. So it's not so much constantly looking out because you're not going to see it.
I guess.
But if you are scanning around and being aware of your surroundings, you give it less time to be able to move between cover. Therefore, it's harder for it to hunt you. Therefore, you might be a bit safer.
Yep, makes sense.
Yeah. Like, they're not like super, super powerful creatures that are definitely going to catch you. They're, mortal. They're natural creatures. They're just very, very good at what they do, which is apparently hiding behind things to get to you.
And eating innards of people, I guess.
They're very good at that part. And the other part is avoid traveling through foresty areas at night.
All right.
They are nocturnal. They see very well in the dark. They use the darkness to their advantage. Don't travel at night.
Talking about this makes me realize I know we kind of have what you would probably call a need-to-know basis in terms of creatures because you can't know anything, but this one seems like it should be in the training or warning material for when you go to the US, because I would probably like to have known that before I go into the forest there.
Yeah, it is concerning, but there's not many of these around. They don't really have like massive numbers, and they're not in like huge habitats. And obviously, we really, really don't want anyone to hunt them, so we do kind of try and protect their identities. But at the same time, I might have just been saying a load of rubbish because we don't see them. We don't know how many there are. They are really, really good at what they do.
Oh, that is very concerning.
It's the concerning and fascinating thing about these creatures.
Yeah, for all we know, the way it sounds, the forest could be full of them.
Easily. But again, we base it mostly on how many attacks there are. And, we don't have entire sections of the Americas being absolutely annihilated every time they go out in the dark. So we work on the idea there's not a huge amount of them. And in general, you're relatively safe. Just, take these kind of things into account. Main thing, these are the two things that bother me about the advice that you get when it comes to hide behind. One of the bits of advice is make lots of noise. Do not make lots of noise. Do not go out into the wilderness making lots of noise. You might think you're being safe. What you're actually doing is telegraphing your location.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds counterintuitive.
Exactly. The hide behind isn't constantly looking for food. It isn't constantly aware of absolutely everything that's ever existed. And do you honestly think you walking through the forest shouting a little bit is going to scare the damn thing off? No, it's going to go, there's my next meal on wheels.
Yeah, I agree. You should probably not be doing that.
Exactly. And then this one, and it's personally just a bit of advice I'm always going to give to people, especially if it's not necessary for you. They say, make sure you're armed. Do not go into the forest armed without a damn good reason, especially not just to protect yourself from a hide behind. You can't see the damn thing. How the hell are you going to shoot it?
I mean, maybe when it's already got its teeth in you, then you can know where to shoot. I don't know.
Revenge killing, okay.
Yeah.
I'm taking you down with me.
Exactly.
I would personally prefer to survive.
I mean, yeah, obviously, but you take what you can get.
Very true. But the main thing is, like, it's just unnecessary. Like, you're not going to see it coming. It's going to get you. If it's going to get you, having a firearm on you is not going to make a difference. It really isn't.
So is there anything you can do when it gets you? Is there a way to, I don't know, I know that for some animals you're supposed to play dead or make yourself big and try and scare it away. What's the vibe here? Or are you just done for?
The only thing we can ever say is you kind of all interactions with a hide behind that a hide behind has ever actually got hold of someone we don't know. Otherwise, we'd know what they look like. Plain and simple.
Makes sense.
We've never lost a warden to one, but like I say, they're intelligent creatures and they do recognize equipment and they do recognize a hard target, shall we say.
Yeah.
But yeah, no one has ever encountered a hide behind, and at the very least, no one has ever encountered a hide behind and come forward to tell the tale.
All right.
So it's very much prevention is better than cure.
Yeah, then I'm going to try my best and prevent getting eaten, I guess.
Yeah, it's what I would suggest. And this kind of brings me on to my little story about when I've actually interacted with a hide behind. And it was actually not that long ago. And it involves another creature that I know is one of the reasons why you don't want to go to the Americas very much. Especially seeing as pretty much all wardens have had to deal with one at some point, and no one has enjoyed it. But I was actually out there dealing with the aftermath of a Wendigo attack.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Those are bad.
Yes. It was very, very messy. And just as a quick one, we managed to get the kidnapped family back all completely safe. It ended perfectly. It couldn't have gone any more textbook than that, frankly. And we are damn lucky it happened that way that it did.
Yeah, it usually doesn't go that well.
No, it doesn't. But I was basically just there with my team, about 4 or 5 others. I was just kind of doing the final cleanup. They were packing up the car at this point. And I was just doing the final cleanup, make sure we hadn't left any traces, especially any weaponry or anything like that. We, want to make it as innocuous as possible.
Sure.
And luckily, I hadn't had to be involved in any of the actual Wendigo operation there. This was literally my only involvement, which I am so thankful for.
Yep.
But as I was kind of finishing up my cleanup, pretty much wrapping it up, I'd told about half an hour or so ago, I told the rest of the team to, take all the equipment back to the cars, get moving, and I will come back down in a little while, because, so cleanup takes a lot of equipment, so
yeah,
just easier if everyone disappears off, and I just do the final checkup. And when I was starting to head back towards the car, I just got a feeling, that weird feeling like you're being watched.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, people often ignore that feeling, and one of the things we learn is that sometimes you should trust that.
I mean, pretty much every single time you get that feeling as a warden, you should trust it.
Yeah.
There's a good chance something is aware of you or something is on your tail. And I very, very subtly, obviously we had radios and earpieces and whatnot, so I kind of very subtly looked around, started getting the feeling that I might be something like a hide behind, mostly because I just couldn't see any traces of anything following me. But again, years of being a warden, your instincts kind of get into it and you go, yeah, okay. If we eliminate everything that would normally leave a trace and where we are in terms of location, oh no, this is a bad day.
Yep.
So I very subtly used my radio and just mumbled to the team to be ready for some kind of pickup very quickly. And just kind of casually marched my way through the forest, trying to find myself back to the rest of my team.
Very casually trying not to die.
Yeah, well, again, I don't like being armed. So
Yeah.
I didn't have a weapon on me, and like I said already, even if I did, it would have been useless. So, just trying to keep moving. In my mind, if I keep moving, I at least keep putting some distance. It has to keep moving around to get to me.
Yeah.
Try and find clearings, move into the clearing, walk through that specifically. And it was going perfectly fine, nothing seemed to be getting close to me. I seemed to be pretty safe. Everything going well.
Yeah.
Until I came across a little family who were hiking.
Oh no.
Yeah. My plan was that I was hoping to lose the hide behind, essentially. At which point I realised if I lose the hide behind now, it's going to go after these people.
Yes.
So I essentially had to turn myself into bait.
Oh no. You're bait surprisingly often. Do you enjoy that?
I mean, sometimes I enjoy it, and didn't enjoy it on this occasion. It wasn't intentional. It just happened.
And you keep saying that, but you just happen to end up in this situation somehow. It just makes you wonder.
I can risk myself. I don't like risking others.
Sure.
But also at the same time, these are civilians. They ain't got a clue what's out there.
Yeah, of course. And even if you tell them, they're not going to believe you, probably.
No, and especially not going to turn around and tell them and scare the living hell out of their poor children at the same time. So, yeah, I kind of just started moving through, and basically what I had to do was I had to keep presenting myself as the easier target. So, moving very boldly through undergrowth, just kind of basically just make myself the easier target.
Yeah.
For a few minutes, and then very quickly find little parts where there's no approach from behind.
Yeah.
So find myself in basically a little cave or something like that, or a little alcove in the rock faces where I can see everything in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
That way it can't sneak up on me. It doesn't like to confront you directly. It likes to follow you and come at you from behind. So,
okay.
Just do that. So it starts to get a little bit bored with me and maybe starts moving off. But then obviously at that moment I have to, when I, give it a couple of minutes and I have to go, okay, back to being bait again, walk straight out in the middle into dense forest where it's very easy for it to catch up to me. And I did this for about 45 minutes. They were terrifying 45 minutes.
I do believe that.
Yeah, I have not sweat that much in years. It was nerve-wracking because normally anytime I'm dealing with any creature, I can see it, or at least I'd have a chance of seeing it. But I couldn't see this damn one. Nothing was telling me where it was. It was just instinct that was telling me it was still following me.
In my mind, maybe there wasn't anything there at all. I needed to just spend 45 minutes being scared of nothing.
You see, I would agree with you on that, except what happened at like the last 100 meters that I had to run, basically.
Oh,
My team had parked up along the road. I'd worked out where they were. I could even hear their vehicle, basically.
yeah.
They're about 100 meters away from me. They'd hit the horn a few times, so I knew, kind of a like sound location. Okay, that's where they were. And I was, again, hiding in another alcove where I could see everything directly in front of me. And at this point, I'd gone, okay, the family must have got out of here by now. That's, it's been 45 minutes or so. I'm hoping that they haven't just decided to sit down. If they have, screw it, not my problem anymore. I can only help them for so long.
Yeah.
No, that's not how it works, but you know what I mean.
I know.
And so in the last 100 meters or so to the vehicle, I just saw the path, and it was very, very densely vegetated. There was, trees and bushes pretty much surrounding me in this last 100 meters, but
Okay.
honestly, at this point, I was getting a little bit tired of, all of this running around and being scared. So in my mind, I was like, okay, then we're just going to go for it. I've outrun leshies. I've done this a few times. I've hidden from minotaurs and various other creatures.
Sure.
I can do 100 meters before a hide behind catches me, surely. And yeah, so I just bolted. I just went as fast as I possibly could. And, the first 50 meters, that was okay. 60 meters, I can hear something behind me now. There's definitely something there. 70 meters. Oh, there's like a presence. I can feel there's a presence coming through. Got to about 80 meters, and I could hear breathing behind me.
That's usually bad.
Yes. At which point, I found another burst of speed. And within basically between 90 and 100 meters, where at that 100 meter boundary, I basically burst out onto the road where the rest of my team were all, they could hear me coming and they were all waiting, and, they were armed. They'd got weapons out of the car, and they were looking at the direction I was coming from, ready to scare something off, essentially.
Yeah.
But honestly, I could feel breathing at the back of my neck.
Oh, jeez.
Yes.
Sounds terrifying.
It was pants-wettingly terrifying. Luckily, I didn't need a change at the end, but honestly, it was scary as anything, and I as hell did not want to be the first warden lost to a hide behind.
Yeah, that is definitely a scenario for brown pants.
Very much so. But yeah, so the moment I jumped into the car, we all got out of there, and about 2 hours later, we came back with about 20 wardens, and we cleared that area. We went in there and we did the protocol. We pushed them back. We forced it back. We actually found what we think is probably the lair. Looked like it hadn't eaten for a while, which is probably why it was quite, aggressively willing to get that close to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, we seem to have contained it, scared it off a little bit, kept the area, quarantined for like a week or two.
All right.
We kind of went from there.
Okay, yeah. And then I suppose everything is fine and safe forever in that part of the forest.
Well, obviously we do have some wardens now, kind of checking in that area a little bit more frequently.
Sure.
Yeah, we think it was probably may have been living under the tyranny of the Wendigos that were in the region, but now we've got rid of the Wendigos, it's feeling a bit more freer.
Oh, yeah.
So we're just trying to scare it away now, trying to keep it back.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's the hide behind, really.
Yeah, that's terrifying, and it unlocked several new fears for me. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. And you're welcome, viewers. If you found that terrifying and scary, please let us know. If you enjoyed anything we've done today, please let us know by, subscribing, rating, giving us 5 stars, thumbs up, whatever it is. I never know. There's so many different rating scales now. It's just ridiculous. But we would love to have you involved. And if you are interested in being involved and you want to talk a little bit more, or maybe even suggest some potential creatures we could tell you about, we've pretty much encountered most of them at this point.
It's true.
Where could they find that place, Chris?
Well, there is a mysterious place called the Discord, and the Discord can be found via a link that should be in the description of this episode and the podcast and everywhere else. And hey, you can join us there to suggest creatures for us to talk about, or talk about episodes that we've already done, or just in general talk about weird creatures, about the weird world we live in, and join our little community there, and we'd be happy to welcome you.
Exactly. We would love to have you all. But in the meantime, thank you very much for listening. We very much appreciate it. And I think we can say a hearty goodbye.
Goodbye.